Kraken is one of the world's longest standing and most secure crypto platforms. Its mission is to accelerate the global adoption of crypto so that everyone can achieve financial freedom and inclusion. Today I'm joined by Jonathan Miller, the Managing Director for Australia at Kraken. Jonathan co-founded one of Australia's longest running crypto service providers, BitTrade, in 2013, and Jonathan has been deeply involved in the Australian crypto industry since its inception. As a founder and entrepreneur, Jonathan cut his teeth in product development and blockchain consultancies prior to joining Kraken in 2020 via acquisition. He continues to spearhead Kraken's regional operations and is extremely passionate about driving adoption of crypto in Australia. Jonathan joins me now. Jonathan, it's lovely to see you.
To be here.
What a big year 2023 has been.
A lot has happened. Some ups, some downs. Looks like there's more ups, but it's been tumultuous, that's for certain.
All right, let's get into it. Bitcoin has just recently passed $40,000 US. What should people take away from this firstly?
So we've seen volatility in the past, and it looks like we're entering another phase of that, but in the upwards direction. That gets people excited. I have to remember that there's that this technology is and remains fresh. It's still a new kid on the block, but every day we see signs of more maturity. And I think that the most recent events of the last couple of years with industry issues with particular players falling over and lots of antagonistic relationships between the business and businesses in general in this industry and regulators. There's been a lot of uncertainty, but some of those tides have turned, and I think that's certainly reflected in the price of the assets like Bitcoin, but more generally in adoption. We're seeing adoption, and that's really an interesting and exciting thing coming into 2024 to have this kind of degree of confidence, both in the industry in itself, but also in the price or the assets.
So has Kraken seen an influx in trading activity?
Yeah, we see trading activity correlates certainly with price. People's interest in crypto gets spiked by these kinds of things. But interestingly, throughout what we like to call a kind of winter or the bear market of the last 12 to 18 months, there's still been a significant amount of trading activity. So, you see, maturity even on the side of the traders, the active traders, trading the lows and the highs. And when we see price increases like this, we certainly see more activity.
So with Bitcoin's halving and Ethereum's Denken upgrade coming next year in 2024, how is Kraken preparing for these events in the crypto space?
Yeah, it's just exciting to be in an industry where you have open source software that's being developed like this, that's evolving live in front of our very eyes. And these upgrades are, they're not behind closed doors. These happen in the open source forums. These are community projects that have taken on global scale. And we like to think of Kraken in similar terms, and that we have been similarly building throughout, the quiet times, making sure that we're ready for the next phase of our business. And talking about ourselves a bit more, that's kind of something we haven't done so much. I think that's a really exciting moment for Kraken to be able to go out and talk about what it does, its role in the ecosystem, its role in crypto, and it's essentially its mission, which is to increase adoption and see crypto in the hands of people.
There's no harm in talking about yourself.
I hope so.
I want to ask you about institutional client. Tell me exactly, what do you mean by an institutional client?
I think traditionally the way that people think about institutional clients are when you think of large businesses. And in the financial services sector, names come to mind: superannuation industry, banks, and so forth. To date, I think there's been a dabbling in crypto by these kinds of businesses, and the recent developments, in particular things like ETFs coming to market, have given those types of industry, those types of businesses, more pathways to access. In particular, though, exchanges like Kraken and other platform providers are building tools that are suitable for that kind of client. And those tools require a very different kind of stack, very different set of frameworks around them than say for your everyday crypto enthusiast. So that when we think of institutions, we're thinking of large businesses, we're thinking of established regulated entities usually, and building to suit their needs.
Has Kraken seen growing institutional interest in crypto? Or are you expecting to see growing interest?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we've seen incremental institutional interest over the course of the last 4 or 5 years with the launch of futures markets, with the launch of ETFs, with custody offerings coming to market, with big name banks entering the space, stable coins being issued by payment providers, global payment providers, payment rails businesses supporting cryptocurrency. And Kraken is certainly building for this market as well. And we're looking forward to releasing some interesting products in 2024.
Why should institutions care about crypto?
So I think what we've seen is that crypto is more than just some of the big name currencies you've heard of. Bitcoin and Ethereum are certainly what started the interest in the space, but deployment on top of these networks, for example, on top of Ethereum, of certain types of technology, stable coins come to mind, are proof that this technology is the superior technology for financial services. And so why these institutions are looking at the asset class is not just because of the speculative potential, perhaps, of something like Bitcoin, but ultimately the utility of the underlying networks themselves. And so if we have a directional view that this technology will replace financial services technology as we know it today, then they absolutely must be involved.
On the flip side, how is Kraken catering to the needs of these institutional clients?
So Kraken prides itself on being a safe, secure, and essentially expert platform in the space. We've been working incredibly hard to ensure that our technology scales, to ensure that we can continue to provide that degree of high-level security and fundamentally the infrastructure that businesses, individuals, and institutions need in order to access and enter this market. Kraken will continue to do this, but within the boundaries of the newly regulated jurisdictions in crypto. So crypto itself is becoming regulated, and Kraken is very much, is very determined. Kraken is very determined to ensure that we build inside the perimeter of those regulations. That's really, Kraken is determined to build inside the perimeter of those regulations, and that is a key question that comes to mind for any institution and individual as the space evolves. So one of the things that we've seen a lot of demand for is custody. This question of how you hold your crypto is a big one, and we're looking to support that. And we're also looking to broaden the spate of instruments you can engage with on Kraken and broaden out from just crypto into other asset classes as well. So those two things combined, I think, are a really important part of our institutional offering.
So tell me, why is there so much interest in a US Bitcoin ETF?
The US financial services system is the biggest in the world. Those markets have the most amount of participants, the most amount of traded volume. We look to the US when it comes to leading indicators on all kinds of activity, financial activity. And I think that the launch of ETFs, Bitcoin ETFs, and potentially other, for example, Ethereum ETFs, into those large markets mean inevitably that's significant.
What about the safety? What's Kraken doing to improve the security of the ecosystem, firstly, and to help both new and seasoned investors stay safe?
Kraken prides itself on being expert in the area of security and safety in crypto. We have built our brand on this premise, which is that the security and safety of our clients' assets is the number one priority for the business. What we've been doing in the community is engaging, and our security team not only does our security team ensure that every individual that works at the business, every element of the technology stack is directionally aligned with that goal. But not only that, they look internally, they look externally, and we've contributed quite heavily to the industry, to the community. We've identified issues in third-party platforms and brought them to light. Worked with those third parties to help improve their products. In the end, the security of the platform is not just a responsibility for us; it's also on our clients to understand the implications of crypto and how to be safe and secure. So we do a lot of work in education. We make sure that people who come to our platform understand what they're doing and can go away with more than just the asset, but with an understanding of how to handle that themselves, how to look after their own crypto. And there's a saying that floats around the crypto space, not your keys, not your coins. Well, but that's something we like to try and make our clients understand and build our products around that philosophy.
How important is client education?
It's critical. This is new technology. Education is part and parcel of the experience when you use Kraken. It's part and parcel of, I guess, all of us as individuals who work at Kraken. It's a part of our mission is to broaden and increase adoption of this. And the only way you can do that is by talking about it and by teaching people about it, and ultimately by getting people to use it. Because in using cryptocurrency, you understand its benefits, and experimenting with crypto is really one of the fastest ways you can learn, and we're there to support that.
Well, crypto spring is almost here. What lessons have you taken from past market cycles, and what are you looking forward to for the spring?
It's spring in the Southern Hemisphere, that's for sure. We're really feeling the energy of people's, I guess, regained confidence in the sector. And that's, I think, due to a lot of reasons. And I've spoken about these before. The adoption story for crypto trumps the negative news cycle, where we've seen individual industry players, bad actors being brought to heel. Irrespective of all that happening, the technology itself has been evolving. And so people who believe in the use cases, believe in the opportunity and the prospect of using this technology across many different sectors of the economy have been building. Kraken's been building in this period, and so when you see sentiment change, it's certainly validating, but in our view, it's part of a longer run trend, which is growth of awareness and adoption of crypto.
What are your top 5 reasons for Australian crypto investors to be cheerful this Christmas? It is the festive season after all.
The top 5 reasons to be cheerful this Cryptomas. Firstly, I think we've reached a moment of closure for anyone who's been going through, I guess, the volatility, the tumult of the last couple of years with industry participants, with regulatory uncertainty. That seems to have come to a close. We've got a line of sight on the future, and that's really promising. There are many positive events, number 2, coming in 2024. Those events are technical, but they're still very interesting. This is open source software. We're seeing upgrades. We're seeing Bitcoins halving. We're seeing continual iteration on the platforms themselves. Number 3, I think related to this, people are building. People are building throughout the winter. They're committed to using the technology, not just pumping it. That's the thing that encourages me the most, and I should encourage anyone who's interested in crypto, is that there are people out there building amazing products, and we're going to only start seeing the light. Those come into the light in 2024 and beyond. 4th reason is institutional interest, and I think this is significant. Even if it is one narrow dimension, the institutional adoption is part of the adoption story, and ETFs launching these kinds of events are significant. They're significant moments for the industry in general, and they're part of the broader adoption story.
Before we let you go, just lastly, what were your top 3 defining crypto moments of 2023?
My top 3 defining moments of crypto in 2023 was seeing 1 million Bitcoin addresses with 1 Bitcoin in them. The closure of one of the dark moments in crypto's history with SPF's trial, and Ethereum finally finishing its merge and transforming itself mid-flight.
Jonathan Miller, the Managing Director for Australia at Kraken, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you all the best in 2024.
Merry Cryptomas.